So let's check out Theta Fuel. So it's been a while since I checked this out. I think it's been about 2 weeks, and honestly I don't think too much has changed since we last did our video. We've basically, I don't want to say a stable coin because these are quite hefty ranges between 23 cent and 12 cent, but we've really been accumulating to the side for the longest time now. This coin normally has like really euphoric swings, and it's not often that we see these consolidation ranges where you just trade sideways for a while. Normally that does mean in the macro term we are gearing up for a big move. I would have to assume that move is going to be to the upside, as in the macro term. For Theta Fuel, we have held our 786 Fibonacci. That is a different answer on Theta, because Theta has actually fallen below the 786. So it's very ironic how TFUEL actually looks better than Theta, but they both are looking very shaky right now. I wanted to talk about these momentum indicators because we are gearing up for another momentum shift right now. So let's talk about what happened the last time we were in a bullish phase and the bulls lost control. You can see on the squeeze bomb down here, these light green candles and light red candles mean the bulls are in control and the bears are in control respectively. When you start to see either these dark green or these dark red candles, it again respectively means that either the bulls are losing control or the bears are losing control. So what did we see? We saw a huge upswing for the bulls. We came all the way up from 11 cent to 23 cents. So I mean, these swings, they're over 2x swings, which is absolutely obnoxious. You can see we topped out, we started putting in dark green candles on the was it the 11th? On the 11th of February, we were right up here at 23 cent, and the bearish momentum didn't subside until the 28th of Jan. So while this technically carried us down 42%, this move in terms of the momentum shift was a 33% drop, and you could once again move it down to a lower data point where we did top off down here, because this was a short-lived dump. You can actually see if we draw it from the topping out that we had on the 8th of March, you can see we're actually left with a slightly different level, and this was a 40% drop respectively. So what happened after there? The bears lost control on the 8th of March. We had a momentum shift in terms of the bulls. We moved up 70%, so these price swings are pretty hefty. The last time we topped out, we were on the 4th of April. We were literally right here at the top, not including the wick. We came all the way down here, and what's interesting is you can see this exact bottom down here, this 30% bottom, perfectly lines up to this impulse that we saw. So the 19th of April the bottom was in, and this was when we started impulsing up. Now we have started to come back down since then, and I would like to highlight that the most recent impulses that we've had during this accumulation phase have just been moves to the top of this channel again. So also you can kind of see, at least in the short term, we're experiencing like somewhat diminishing returns within this channel. We keep on heading up to this trend line and we have wicks above it, so be it, but we normally top off right into the trend line. So in the short term, or more accurately in the macro term, I do expect a gradual move back up to 21 cent. Before, I would have to assume that we could potentially be getting ready for a local top again, unless Bitcoin decides that it's going to have a huge rally to the upside. And currently it is kind of just chilling after its recent impulse, which is perfectly fine with me. Then I don't think we'll see a massive rally on Theta, or Theta Fuel to be specific, but nonetheless you can see we're up we could be up 28.5% in the higher time frames because of this bullish swing, or rather than a bullish swing, it is the bulls taking back control of the bearish momentum, and this will swing over until about halfway into the bullish trend when the bears start taking control. So we do have a ways to go. I would have to assume that, we're probably going to be in an uptrend for the next couple of weeks in the macro term. Now, that does not mean in the short term we can't have a slight dump, because in the lower time frames you can actually see the bears, or the bulls rather, are already losing momentum. If we draw a micro fib and focus on where we'd need to stay above, ideally I'd want to see us hold above 16 cent 0.36, But worst case scenario, I'd really need to see 15.59 cent hold, otherwise this micro impulse is going to be done. We're probably going to move back to our trend line down here at 15 cent. If we zoom out, you can see this trend line is your 786 Fibonacci. Let me move it down to make it a more accurate target. So yeah, it is literally 15 cent. And then if we lose that target, you can see we could potentially be heading all the way down to the bottom of this accumulation phase, which is between 13 and 11 cents. So some big ranges we've got going on, and while in the short term I do think, you know, we could have a slight pullback to those levels we talked about, like in the micro time frame, drawing from low to high, you know, a pullback to somewhere like here, the 786 Fibonacci at 15 cent 0.9 could definitely be a place where I'd be looking, maybe not to enter, but to keep eyes on having a reversal in the market. So I'm expecting a 28% increase to come in the next weeks or so. I would expect maybe we could have a move down lower, so by the time you're watching this, we could move down to the 618 fib, which would mean we're at 16, you know, between 15 and 16 cent, and then that could mean we could instead have a 31% or a 34% rally whenever we do decide to initiate this next swing to the upside. So in the very, very short term, as in, you know, the next couple of weeks, Theta could have a move back up to here. In the macro term, we are in this accumulation phase, so I have to assume at some point we're going to have a big move to either the upside or the downside. My bet is the upside. Once we finally do break above this trend line at 21 cent, we'd have a shot once again for a daily close above 23 cent, and once 23 cent really comes in, we can start targeting our 618 fib at 26 cent. Then we can have increases up to, well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about all of those in another video. We also do have a 618 fib up here from the recent all-time high to the low, and, you know, that would be coming in play at about 46 cents. So there's a lot of volatility to the upside if we do manage to break out this accumulation range. But while we are just kind of getting chopped up in this range, you know, it's kind of hard to make any major calls on this, because as you can see, the momentum indicators, they're having these swings up and down, and we're just swinging up, down, up, down, up, down in this accumulation range. So we're putting in higher lows as well. That is something to note from the candle body closes. You can see we are forming a nice uptrend, potentially even something like a triangle pattern with your apex approximately at the 3rd of August. I don't think this is going to play out even near any close as long as that. I think we're going to be out of here in the next couple of months or so. So that is really all I see for Theta Fuel. In the macro term, we are going to have a move up to the upside, in my opinion, another 30% increase. But in the short term, we could have a tiny flush out on the lower time frames, like the 4-hour, back down to the lows of 16 cent before we do have a reversal. And in the very, very macro term, we are in this accumulation phase. We really need to get out of here until we have a solid break above 23 cent. Then there's nothing too great to get out of bed for Theta Fuel. That is all I've got today for TFUEL. Once again, none of this is financial advice. It is just my opinion on the market, and you've always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.